So, how do you frame your shot so that it looks interesting? How do you take better photos to tell better stories? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you 4 framing and composition techniques that will instantly help you improve. It's coming up. Hey everyone, Steve here from Learn Online Video, helping you master the art of online video production. And today we're talking framing and composition. And look, if you're new to framing and composition and you aren't using any of these techniques yet, then by the end of this video, you're going to have all the knowledge that you need to start taking better photos and shooting better videos. And the best part about framing and composition is that it's completely free. Normally when we talk about improving our videos or our photos, it involves spending money. Get a better camera, get this piece of software, get this camera accessory. With framing and composition, it's completely free. You just need the knowledge. So today we're going to cover 4 techniques that anyone can do. The rule of thirds, leading lines, symmetry, and framing within your frame. So look, let's simplify all of this, okay? Let's bring this down to basics so that you have a really good understanding of when, why, and where you might use some of these techniques. This is framing and composition 101. Now let's pretend for a second you were given a brief, and your brief was to capture an opening shot of this lighthouse. How would you capture it? Well, let's run through each of these 4 framing techniques and apply them to this lighthouse to see what difference it makes. Okay, so let's talk the rule of thirds. Now, the first thing that you should do is enable the grids on your camera. They look a little something like this. Now, you may have seen these grids on your camera before and switched them off because you thought that they were distracting, but if you're new to framing and composition, I encourage you to keep these switched on. Now, the grid is made up of 2 vertical lines and 2 horizontal lines, all spaced evenly apart. Now, when we place our subjects or focal points on these lines, particularly where they meet, a much more aesthetically pleasing shot is created, and our eyes are drawn to these focal points. It also helps balance a shot and gives it more context. So let's place our lighthouse to the right of our frame and place it directly on the intersecting points of this grid. This then leaves space to the left of our frame where we can fill it with something to help us tell a better story. In this case, we have the sea, some grass, and this helps give the audience a better understanding of where the lighthouse is located. Now, when shooting horizons, don't put your horizon in the middle of the frame. Try and put it on either the top or the bottom horizontal line. This allows you to make a feature of either the sky or the landscape and makes for a much more pleasing shot. Now, I've made a whole video on the rule of thirds. I will link it in the cards and put it in the description of this video. Be sure to check that out. Now, the rule of thirds technique is commonly used in interview situations. You may have noticed this when someone's being interviewed, the idea being that you give your subject some looking room, so either put them to the left or to the right of frame. Okay, the next technique is leading lines, and the idea here is really simple, okay? Use elements within your environment to create a visual pathway to your subject or focal point. So take this shot of the lighthouse here, for example. I've used this pathway to help draw the eye to my focal point. These don't need to be straight lines, they can be curved lines. Regardless of your location, look for elements within your environment that will help draw the eye to your focal point. I've also made an entire video on leading lines. I will put that in the description below. Here are some other shots I took of the lighthouse using the leading lines technique. This technique also works great for portrait shots. Just frame your subject so that lines within your environment help lead the eye. Okay, let's talk symmetry. Now, this technique is fairly self-explanatory. We're going to frame our shot so that it's nice and balanced with our subject in the middle of the frame. As you can see here, the lighthouse is nicely centered with the flagpoles either side. Another example of this would be a documentary style film where someone is talking directly to the camera. If your subject is talking to camera, frame them in the center of the shot. And notice here, we're also using some leading lines. For an absolute masterclass in symmetry, watch anything by director Wes Anderson. His films are full of beautiful symmetry and really make him stand out as a uniquely stylized filmmaker. Okay, framing within your frame. What does this mean? Well, again, look, let's use this lighthouse as an example. We're using elements within our environment to frame our focal point. A slightly more stylized approach, this one, a time and a place for it, and also it's a little harder to pull off because it requires having something within your environment that you're able to frame your focal point with. but when used correctly, it can really help your photos and videos stand out. So there you have it. Those were 4 framing and composition techniques to help you start shooting better videos and taking better photos. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, let me know by hitting the old thumbs up button. And if you'd like to watch more content, learn some more, watch some more tutorials, you can do that by clicking over there. But that's it from me. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.